It's a cool summer weekend afternoon in The Hague, Netherlands. And the terraces of Hotel Indies spring to life. Deputy President William Ruto's lead counsel Karim Khan is out with almost his entire legal team.
How are you, narrator? Hello, how are you? How are you?
The youngest member of the team.
Gosh, he's grown big, huh?
Yeah, he's grown quite big.
Here we meet the men and women behind Ruto's defense at the International Criminal Court.
Lee Laurie has her back to you. She's a brilliant lawyer from Scotland, and before this case she's also working on the Darfur case with me and other members of the team. Grace Sullivan from Ireland, a wonderful young lawyer. We snapped her away. In fact, she was doing an internship at the United Nations Dispute Tribunal in Nairobi, and she joined us in the case for Ambassador Muthaura, and they would never let her go.
The legal team has evolved into a close-knit unit, almost like a family.
Doreen, she's from Uganda. This is her beautiful son, John. So Darren, this is Darren. John is here. Also, her husband also, sometimes he's like a baby. So that's right. But this is Darren. She was the legal advisor to the presiding judge and Judge Julia Sebutundi from Uganda in the Charles Taylor case. Shamla, you know, from Malaysia, doing everything with me, from Ambassador Muthaura's case. Previously, of course, she worked in the Special Court for Sierra Leone in the Charles Taylor case, in the RUF case. When at 24, she was a full trial attorney in the Special Serious Crimes Unit of the United Nations in Timor, in East Timor. Anand is a brilliant lawyer from the United States. He's been working with me now, poor man, for a number of years. And he was very kind and stayed with me during the Darfur case of Banda and Jerbo, and then Ambassador Muthaura, then now the case for the Deputy President.
David Hooper, QC from England, described as a leading silk in international criminal law, is also part of the team. As lead counsel, Khan also poached Gambian SFR from the prosecution, where he had risen to the rank of a senior trial attorney.
This is the advantage of the defence, because I do, particularly as lead counsel, I do have that prerogative of building the team that I want. And that's a great advantage, because in the end we work so hard, we work so many hours, and life is short. There's nothing worse than spending so many hours with somebody who may be very, very clever, but an awful person, and you just can't stand them, and then you can't work. So if you can marry together having wonderful people and fantastic lawyers, it actually makes the whole process much more enjoyable.
And then there is Shalini Jiraj, who together with Grace Sullivan have been doing evidence review, which includes previewing video and audio tapes running into dozens of hours, besides reading through prosecution disclosures with a tooth comb.
I love learning about Kenyan politics. I think it's so fascinating. It's so much more interesting than Irish politics, for example, and yeah, so much dancing at rallies and
it's something that I've never seen before. Like, I mean, in Singapore politics, we don't see politicians like dancing quite so, you know, and they're really moving.
How would you describe Karim Khan?
Good looking. I think he's very inspiring.
very thorough, effective.
These moments of unwinding and bonding are deliberate for Khan's team.
Which is the pool, by the way?
No, it's a public swimming pool.
But it's so empty, huh?
You're swimming!
Oh, it was baby swim time.
Yeah, that's, you need honest people around you that don't just say yes to you, but are willing to assert their own views. Having sycophants around you, whether you're in politics or law or business, it's the worst thing. They're false friends. And luckily, I've got very true friends. Because it's very important, these cases are not sprints, they're marathons.
A marathon he has been on for almost a quarter century, since his admission to the bar at London's Lincoln's Inn back in 1992. With such a tight schedule, he has to multitask in the gym, work out at the same time, catch up with world news.
Quite convenient.
Law is a very hard taskmaster. One doesn't have leisure time, unfortunately, because there's always new things to read, new things to prepare. Sometimes when I'm very tired, what I'll tend to do is go home, have a bite to eat and sleep, and then get up at 2 o'clock in the morning or something and then work straight through to court.
The International Criminal Court is now in session.
The prosecution at the beginning of the Ruto Sang case stated that it had collected evidence running into thousands of pages and hours of audio and video tapes, but that was just a fraction of the material Khan and his team had to read and write in preparation for their defense.
But there are other cases that you're also dealing with. How do you manage to juggle between all these cases and all the reading there needs to be?
That's something we learn at the bar, and one knows how to prioritize and focus one's time and energy upon what's important in a case.
And you also teach in very many universities. I can see here Florence, Italy, then
Lecturer
Hague,
there.
Yes. King's College, University of London, Sandhurst Military College, Academy. How do you get to all these places? There are different parts of the world.
That's something I feel very privileged. I'm invited to lecture as I'm a visiting fellow at Utrecht University. I've been a senior fellow at King's College London. One makes time for it because, as I said, for a number of reasons. One is I believe in international justice. It's not just a job, it's something I believe in. And the other thing is one learns a lot because you should always keep one's mind open. You get so many different ideas also. This cross-fertilization of ideas, different people pushing different narratives, having different perspectives. And I think that enriches me.
Professionally speaking, you have had major successes. I mean, you represented the Darfur rebel leader, Idris Abu Ghada, and his charges were not even confirmed. Muthaura's charges were dropped on the eve of the trial in 2013.
And now William Ruto's case has been terminated at halftime. What is his strategy?
I have a very good team, and also I believe in justice. I believe in the system. It's not the cleverness of me.
It's a career path Khan started learning the ropes at a tender age.
I think when I was very young, I wanted to be a doctor. That was my, maybe every child looks up to the father and wants to be a bit like the father. Then I think I started doing quite a few speeches and speech competitions at school, and I went more and more towards the law. And also I was very much inspired by, not my biological grandfather, but in fact the person that adopted me as his grandson, Sir Muhammad Zafullah Khan. He used to come to our house all the time. I used to stay with him. I stayed with him in London. And he was the first foreign minister of Pakistan. And he was also the first Asian president of the International Court of Justice in The Hague. And he was also the president of the United Nations General Assembly. So he was a very eminent jurist, a very eminent lawyer, and somebody I was very, very close to. I used to write to him every week. He would write to me every week.
Khan would follow in the footsteps of his grandfather, his mentor, and his greatest admiration, quite literally.
I did my undergraduate degree also in law at King's College London, like he did, and I went to King's College, Lincoln's Inn, as he did. So out of love, really, out of maybe a bit sentimental, but he had such a profound effect on my life.
Now he boasts a rich profile, having risen to become the first member of the English bar and the first Muslim lawyer in the office of the prosecutor of the Yugoslav tribunal, and is one of the only lawyers, if not the only lawyer, who has prosecuted, defended, advised or acted for the victims in all existing international courts and tribunals, including Rwanda, Sierra Leone, Lebanon and Cambodia, among others. Critics, however, accuse him of being combative and dramatic in his submissions.
The vehicle of their case can't carry the weight of evidence. The chassis is broken and the wheels have come off.
But his admirers say he is an experienced lawyer with a flowery language that makes him stand tall among peers.
Very often when I stand up, I don't know what I'm going to say. And no, it comes out for better or worse. Of course I try. The duty of an advocate is to make points as clearly as possible. I was lucky I had very good teachers at school. When I was doing the bar, I went to some chambers. I was told to make sure I read very deeply in Shakespeare, in Dickens. Their artists, they have a very beautiful way of synthesizing in few words very profound things. Unfortunately, what I am still learning to try to do is express it in a few words.
Ultimately, Khan and his team are judged by their performance to their clients. Failure is his biggest fear.
I mean, everyone is scared of failure. Everybody is scared of disappointing themselves.
So how did such an accomplished lawyer publisher, lecturer, grow up?
I had a very happy childhood. My father was a consultant dermatologist in Yorkshire, and I have 3 other siblings. Since a child I do clay pigeon shooting, so I have some nice shotguns, and my middle son particularly enjoys shooting. I got a firearms license when I was about 15, 16 for a 9mm.
He is born of Pakistani and British parents and is blessed with 3 sons based in England. Sylvia Chebet, Citizen TV, The Hague.